Good morning. Good morning. Uh, Trying to get this thing up. Yep. Good morning. How are you doing this morning? Hmm? June, how are you? Eat this. You know, this morning, hey Jennifer, I got to share with you some of the stories from behind bars, the young men that was charged with terrorism and all of that. And it's good if you could wake somebody up, tag somebody intentional. I want to say to the young men, and listen, everybody in jail, all of you, you're in jail, don't fight. Stop the fighting, stop the crying. It's going to work out. It's hard to, telling somebody sitting from this desk that they're in jail, hurting, and to tell them it's going to work out. Hey, Terrence, Paulette, hi, Sharon, alert. Albert, sorry. All of my trust only in you. Listen, what we're going through, you know, I can share testimony with me with y'all, you know. So just know, just know, whatever you're going through, don't give up. Don't give up. Melissa, Beverly, I'm gonna tell you how to do it in a second. Only in you. Apostle, how are you? I've seen Apostle on the live, and I'm happy that you're out here, Apostle, because it's good sometimes, you know, because we share information. And the God, it doesn't matter. Don't give up. I'm saying to the men in prison this morning, Apostle, I'm playing this song for them, you know. I'm playing this song for them. Everything. You want to know how I ain't hearing a work out for me good? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what comes my way. You are still God. So I just play that song to encourage, um, you know, and let me share my story. Apostle, last night, yesterday, I get in. I was out all day yesterday. You know me, I was fighting some battles too. I was fighting with a sister, with a woman. I ain't gonna mention her story yet. A serious story, but God is good. And then the youngsters in court stand, I was fighting with that too. And I came in because 6 of them got bail yesterday, and the family paid the bill. Beverly, you want to pull a song up? I can put it back just now, don't worry. The families, I spoke with 3 of them, but 6 of them got bail yesterday. The families were there, and they were so relieved of what is happening, and you know. And so, because yesterday I gave a quick update on the bail. So 6 get bail, and I came in. That alone, something is strange about me, you know, Apostle. Because, all right, I sent something for Apostle. I don't know if he can take it. I'm about to send it though. You know, it's strange about me because 6 men, don't get me wrong, I don't, never see, don't know, but they get bail out of the prison. And that was a good feeling for me. So when I finished, I came in and I was speaking to this young brother from Haslington. He's from Apostle London's ministry too. And I just said to him, hold on, because within that minute, like everything blinking, you know, like low shaded in front of me. And I could have barely get up and open the door so that to give access to somebody to come in. Listen, it was I turned like the whole house everything going around. I was there and they came, they checked my pressure, everything good. Nurse Atkins, stall up yourself. Stall up yourself, Nurse Atkins. Nurse Atkins. I don't know, like he was living downstairs with me, but by the time he get a call, he was here. Pressure kit, this kit, all kind of thing. I know like he's massage everything. So Nurse Atkins, stall up yourself. Nurse Atkins was here. And they tried to get me to sleep. I get some rest. I can tell you 100, but I ain't gonna know I turn. I see I sit down here. You see I sit down here, right? So you know I get to I turn. And John, thought of yourself. But you know the phone ringing, and I was speaking to one of the young men that came out on bail because yesterday, by the time he got out, he was trying to call me to say thanks. But by the time I couldn't even take the phone, that's just the show. I couldn't deal with the phone. And he was telling me his story. The young man told me he went to buy food uptown, riding now to go home. Police van just collect, he stopped because everything's straight. Never get in problem with the law. He got the papers for his bike. Show he paper, everything. Police side, come with me. Pick you up. Gone with you. And one of them says, son, don't worry. Tomorrow you can get loose. You don't tell me where you're locking me up for, but tell me tomorrow I can get loose. The spin pick up a next set. He said it was about 100. And I caught him. He said, but 100 young black men. So I'm quoting him. And they put him in the lockup. And then they started to move them from different place to different lockup. He spent about 1 week at Rumvelt because he didn't do nothing. So they ain't got no charge, they ain't got nothing for him. But 1 week at Rumvelt. And the next thing you know, they come with a list and say, all who you hear your name, come out. He said, if you see how much men, you know, and they just take out some. He said, I quoting him, he said, me and a smaller boy than me, they call we name for go to court, and they bring 2 from here and 4 from where they bring in the next lockup, and they just group them up and then put him before the court and publish him. They done that, you know, in the lockup and publish him wanted arrest for terrorism. Wanted bulletin. You done that in the lockup, you know. But look how it is fully public. How we can believe the police force and put a wanted bulletin for him for terrorism. Apostle, the youngster said, I never get locked up. I never run into the law. It's like impossible. And they kept him there for over a month and going in prison. They kept him there in prison. And John, don't worry. You're going to get the next live with me and Apostle Williams, so we can have some conversation. Don't worry. He said to me, he said, Moms, I can't thank you enough. Because I couldn't imagine. And he said, some of the other guys, he said, I was afraid. I stay in my corner. He said, the fighting for nothing, the fighting between the self. You know, I'm to them, the freaking out in jail, the freaking out. It has happened. They never get locked up, never used to that kind of environment. And then just those mental health month and this so-called system and these government gonna come out here and tell you about mental health. And that's what you're doing to these young men as leaders, and Anil Depp all over and talking about terrorism, and we're going to be the charge. And a lot of us, and you know, I don't care, because if God tell me go to the left, I go into the left. You could say what you want. And then when I start to, because I'm carrying this burden that they got innocent people in jail, and I went there, you know, they start to attack me. Oh, Broomes and this and that and criminals. And a lot of you people is be out here and jump in and comment and talk about criminals. But let me tell you this. How you could tell me when things like this happen to young, innocent, old, regardless your race or who, and innocently, that the person's responsible, how you could tell me they ain't gonna pay for it? How you gonna tell me, even when they die, their children and grandchildren gonna pay for such wickedness? How could you tell me that? And so he is appealing while he's thanking me. If the lawyer is going to show up for them, because yesterday the prosecutor, they put special prosecutor, objecting to bail. But listen, right? Bash case is coming up. I was trying to call you yesterday to find out about Bash, yeah, Corwin, to know the dates again. So he's happy that he's out on bail. But he's studying the rest because of what is going on now. To the viewers, while we were in office, I took the opportunity to do something I so long wanted to do. I used to go visit the jail. And I would spend whole day and speaking to every prisoner, one by one. I went to the Holding Bay, and I'm telling you, the biggest human rights violations and so on. I went to Camp Street. When I went to Camp Street, I noticed, like, if you know, like if it's a piece of cloth or some piece of garbage or something, like, but in a cell, it got a padlock, well set up, Camp Street. And when I look good, I said, oh my God, this is a human being. This was somebody there waiting to die. Mental health. This hit the prison because of lock up in there, the treatment, sometimes no sun. Listen, let me tell you something. You do the crime, you pay the time. Right? Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The point I'm making is that when you go behind those bars, it's nothing easy. And to go behind those bars deliberately because the hands of the state want to exercise power, right? To send their message and put people's children behind bars. I tell you, ain't got nothing that they ask their God for. It's not going to happen. Be careful. Be careful. And so to the rest in the prison, to all, please, to all, I want to encourage this morning the family to hold on. I spoke with a woman from Linden. This guy didn't get bail. Some families just 200 and 250 high. The lawyer told me, and the youngster repeated, the prosecutor objecting and fighting that they mustn't get bail. And but the prosecutor ain't come with nothing, no evidence, nothing. So the magistrate said 1 month and more, these people in prison, you still coming here to say that, oh, you want more time to get video footage? So how you identify, the point I have, how you could identify, how you charge somebody without you even got the footage, you don't know. You know, looking to see where you can get it. But you don't charge people and they're in the prison. You see how cold it is? It's wicked. It's inhumane. It's inhumane. I look, don't get me wrong, this youngster I was speaking to, I don't know. Never seen him. The only person I recognize from the wanted bulletin list, because you know what? When people was out there, every time the police would train them up, I was screenshotting them and writing down. I was preparing a register because I was communicating with Dr. Todd from all the way overseas. And this is the guy from the market there, Corwin. His matter coming up on the 20th. Remember, you know, it's the nurse that put me to sleep last night. Don't forget. But a lady calling me from Springland. Same story with her grandson. He going through the court this morning. So I couldn't study. Don't worry, my son coming here just now. They came in for general checkup. I know they're going to check out my teeth just now. Don't worry. But that particular one, he don't depend on life. So he didn't even know what's going on. My daughter don't depend on life. So they know that I out here upon the life. They must think I died. They'll lie, don't cover up. So he going this morning. He get a couple shots. Whole line finished there. Apostle London. One of the youngsters said, Moms, they beat me. They beat me bad. They bust up. We had all kind of thing. But we frightened even for talk because that's why they keep in the lockup for about a whole week. Beat them bad, he said. Bust up the head. This how that, he said the treatment was not easy. When they collect them on the road there. He said, and they got some went through worse than me. And some of them would have beat up. Some of them get shot, all kind of thing. But when they lose them, they ain't come and say nothing because the frightened police collect them for lock them up. And to the police officers who carry out these acts, you think it will go unpaid? You think it will go unpaid? Because me and I call him upon God and say, God, judge, you judge them. They better repent, or Lord, bring judgment upon them. Why must you do that? Wendell, I'm speaking to the youngster with so much hurt. He said, but Moms, every Monday I can go there at 9 o'clock because I don't run from police. I'm not a criminal. I'm innocent. And so I want to thank all the lawyers. The lady called me. I done drop to so many different lawyers and all the group. I spoke and Nigel respond to me. Nigel Huge, Dexter Todd, Dexter Smart from Dexter Todd office. It isn't. It's supposed to be when the time come. The lawyers got to think, but I listen. I say reminder. I'm reminding them. And he said it beat me bad. He said, but I couldn't talk. I was afraid. I couldn't believe I would end up in jail. And so I don't care what Barrett talked about me. I don't care what nobody said with me. I know that God is able. And so when they come out, I told him that this morning. That's why I played a song for them. Because at the end of this matter, the whole Guyana should stand up once with this story, the truth. And these young men must sue the state. Because putting them out there with terrorism is to destroy the life. And every time you see the Barrett Jagger administration come, it's attack and destroy the life. And there's got a special attack out on our men and our men folks. And why black men got to feel the blunt of it, I don't know. He talked about the licks. He told me that they're fighting. They're freaking out, he said. They're freaking out. And I know I go and see the freaking out. I was there. This can't take it. They can't take it. They can't take it. And so I'm happy that Apostle London is here because, you know, Apostle, we were in a meeting and these things was discussed. We talk about these young men. We talk about representation, right? But it is more than we can ever imagine. It is more when you listen to the stories, right? I listened to another story and you see a lot of them. I can't even bring it to the fore, you know? Even you could imagine some prison officers and all. Can't take it. Novella. This one novella, when I try for she don't come up on the live. You know, novella this morning, when I was going to come out on this live, I was going to call you and hear me. No, I'm not going to wake up novella. And look, novella out here. Novella ain't sleeping. Novella is not sleeping. She's out here. Novella, you know, I want some people come and wear my shoes for half day. You see when you see the heart for people, I see when it's purpose. Apostle London, when it's purpose, when you live in your purpose, it hits you differently. It hits you differently. Viewers, I went to the prison. I call and I find out how you could visit the prison because this thing is on my mind, right? This thing's on my mind since this incident happened, just pressing in my spirit. I was there morning very early. I find out how you could go to the jail, how you could visit somebody and all of that. Region 5, love you. And I was told that you got to bring your ID card, whatever. I went through the process. And then when I got there, Paulian, when I got there and I reach inside and they really sees who come to do this visit. The officer said, I gotta make a phone call. Let me make a phone call, Apostle. And it took a while. That was a long phone call. I stand up there in the jail yard. And this long phone call come back to me, said, I clear one part. I can come back to you just now. I know words is clear. But a long story short, at the end of this long, because he can't face me now, because he pass the word that Broomes come to this prison here. He said, right now, we ain't taking visits. I said, but I asked about these same prisoners, and I was told, yes, and what's the procedure? He said, well, today the jail on, I think it's number 4, building 4, or something like that. They can't take visits today. They can't take visits today. So, okay. But I was told, they said a person who told you that, and I can't call the person because it's not no easy person. It's not somebody who know the jail talking to me. They mix up. They probably didn't get you clear. So, but they taking no visit right now. So I said, when I could come back and visit his family friend. So the youngster, I put up one of them name. And he said, you could call back. Let's call and so on. Oh, they just want to get me on the prison yard, you know. Me ain't gonna forget no mischief, you know. I gone there because Donna Barry, how are you? Tell up yourself from Mansgrove. And I jump in my vehicle, back the way down to Georgetown. So some of the family call me, they go for carry food, they can't carry food, they go for carry fruits. And then I said, well, okay, what if you gotta carry two each fruits? It's two to tell me or three. If it's two orange or three. Three banana, three orange, three this. You can't carry things, you know how much you want and so forth. And I said, no, you go back at the back. Go down at the back and you hit the buzzer. Somebody can come out. Like if I know the whole jail thing now, you know. And your family, the boy got to get it because the officer called you and say he's not well. So if an officer call you and tell you he's not well and he got to get these things, you go down. And then she called me back and she said, Minister, you know, everybody's calling me Minister. Thanks, Minister. I went and I do just what you tell me to do. And I get to give them the things. Hmm? Hmm? Community morning. Now, how these things could be right? How living to go and buy food? The youngsters say, moms, and you know how much people, it's not everybody would pick up in there. Some people start a call, some people give them money, people give them all kind of thing and get loose. They just sweep them up and heap them and throw them in the lockup. He said, mom, the take money. He said, but moms, me even had no money. I can't call my family, nothing. And some of the police, and I quoting from some of the men in the jail, know some of the persons. And so, oh, shucks, it's you and thing, don't aren't we good? And look, and it's two from the 20, he said. Two from the 20, he and a younger one. The weakest link, eh? And then four, they carry some to Grove, they carry, and it's so they were dropping them off like animals at different police station, beat them up. And I'm quoting, these are the allegations from the young men that come out. Not from me, from the young men. So I'm not going to say I'm pleased to report, because yesterday I mentioned that they were placed on bail, and I myself was studying how the family finding this bail. And this young man talk about how to get this money for bail him. And because this money is refundable, and so he's stressed out now, come out of there, he's traumatized. He don't know what to do, if to ride, if to go up on the road. And you know what? They ain't got no counseling and nobody mentoring and nothing. Look what our men just go through. So that trauma, look what these black men just go through. Hmm? So he's walking around with that. So you don't know him and you see the youngster. He's not well. He's not well. He's not well. It's not, people say it's not long, but then even though he could fit in back to society, it's bothering him. Why I had to go through this. You know, he's talking to me as if this thing just happened yesterday morning. Mm? And each and every one of them, they feel sad about the rest that, you know, back there, because if this were happening to you, what happening to somebody else? Mm? Yes, they said Tuesday. I was there the Tuesday, the same Monday, on going to Idea Gala. You see somebody telling me all the thing with the jail, and they're on remand, but I found out exactly, bam, 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 when and every single thing. And it's the day, but it's not a visit, it's who go to visit people. Don't worry, I understand that. That was all right. That was all right. The thing was just troubling me so much. I just want to go and see one of them to tell the rest, hey, don't give up, don't fight, humble yourself. You're not alone. God is involved. He's intervened already. You got lawyers and so on. Because you or Dr. Todd said when he went in there and he was speaking to the couple of them, he said, man, Dr. Todd told us call me Mommy Broomes. He said, you know, Mommy Broomes outside. And he said the young men wept. You know, they wept. He said, thank you so much, because he family don't know me. They don't know me, know about me. And so when word gets into the jail that representation is outside, they start to look forward to. Although they come into court, they know if it's a liar, who's the liar. Even to the family were confused. One lady tell me she want to go by Dr. Todd office. I said, don't go to no office. You don't worry. Lawyers gonna come in there by Zoom, the representation. Don't worry. She said, but how he gonna know? We never pay nobody. I said, don't matter with pay. God will reward these lawyers. You go to the court, I got you. If I tell you liars showing up, liars showing up. And like Dr. Todd said, while you're fighting, let me tell you what happened to Dr. Todd. That morning I was on live and Dr. Todd called me. They break his office. Not now. Remember I told you to cut the cable of the new building. There's the night where we left the prison. Well, his office now that is on South Road. Break it, see break like when they shy of the building. I got pictures, he stay quiet. They break the building. But thank God, it is so well secured, they get to go in, but they cut the padlock, everything going from the downstairs and everything. Lash off the padlock. Novella. Right? And it was not an easy walk for them, and I don't know what happened. Maybe somebody passed. I don't know what. But they didn't get to complete it. They didn't had enough, they didn't get into the building. So, you know, to all the lawyers, like I said, Young Smart, Dr. Todd, Nigel and his team, I spoke to Darren. So yes, don't talk the Todd going through his own little session too. Yeah. Yesterday, Dr. Todd and Young Smart, the attorney, we sat down there for over an hour fighting a big matter to, you know, me again, fighting the next big matter. But the cries for these young men is not easy. When you listen to the stories, I'm telling you, and you know, man, listen, I know a criminal. You just know them, you know, and some of them, I know with me, they'd be very bold, mom, I do this or that or that or that. But the stories can't add up. You can't tell me the same thing the guy tell me in Georgetown. One tell me from over the river, one tell me from Borbies, and one tell me from Linden, and they don't know each other. Hmm? And the fact that the police ain't got nothing to give to the court, because remember, everybody was remanded. But the judges now, and I'm asking and calling upon these judges, don't allow them. We can't keep putting people in prison without you ain't even got nothing to show why you charge this person but in prison. Hmm? I wish the bail now was less, that some of the families could really, when they replace some bail and put them outside, put them on bail. You know, the police wrong to beat them based on the allegations. He said to beat people bad, beat them the night. And you could imagine when you look on Facebook and you look at the behavior, you could imagine what they do when them men are still getting the vehicle and nobody can get phone and all that. Some parents, you know where your trainers go through there. You know some of them will go through there tonight. Hmm? And when you're done, you're running for 7 Broomes representing criminal and this and that and that. Shelley, Nurse King, the nurse was the first person to get lawyer for the nurse. I'm gonna tell you the nurse story today. I spoke to her before, by the time wanted bulletin and all of that. Oh, I need help. I see like somebody can jump in here for give me help. Because I ain't feeling well. This thing bothering me, and I need Novella. I'm so happy that you come in here. Listen, I got to call you this morning, hold this thing, because I was not well last night. Like I said, lucky thing my son don't up on live. He come and pick me up and carry me to the doctor. The amount of doctors called me and said, just lie down, be quiet. This, that, my pressure okay, but listen, I'm fine. The devil is a liar, you know? He can come in all forms. But Novella, this story with these young men in prison, listen, it's getting worse now that I am facing. I'm talking to the family. Now I'm talking to some of them, just come out of the jail. Huh? You can tell me this. You just rounds them up. The boy spent over a week. Some of them, the next one, when they told me how long they had them in these different lockups. It's not funny, no fella. But you know, you were listening, you heard it. What are your views? What are your views on the situation there?
You know, good morning, everybody. Good morning to your viewers. Oh boy, we are so burdened with Guyana. Guyana is on life support. We are in trouble. We are a nation in trouble. And just to know that our citizens are going through what they're going through, because every citizen has a right of due process. Every citizen, whether you're guilty or not, that you are supposed to have due process and to see what we are dealing with. Look, this is more than just the physical. This is definitely in the spiritual. And so our nation is in trouble.
Yeah,
And I pray this morning for those young men and their families. I pray that God will touch their lives and heal them from the pain,
amen.
heal them from the heartache that they've been going through, that God will reward them for their sacrifice. Regardless of whatever it is that they have done, they are supposed to have due process under law. They're supposed to. And the fact that we have disintegrated as a society, as a nation, to a place where we can lock our citizens up for no reason, don't have, and it shows the rot from the inside out, from the judicial system to the police to the, everything. Like Guyana is in a state. I mean, we are in a state, and so I pray that those young men can be able to find healing. It is so sad to hear that they're in there and what is being meted out to them, the abuses that is being meted out to them. They're not animals, they're human beings. They are human beings with families that love them. It is so sad. And I pray that God will deal with the wickedness and those that have done this to our citizens, and that they're continuing to do this to our citizens. I pray that literally that their life will continue to be a peril and they would not have peace and rest. The evil that men, Shakespeare says that the evil that men do live after them. And I don't believe that the evil that men lives after them. The evil that men do live with them. I pray that their life will be one that is full of sadness, and that they would have no peace for what they're doing to our citizens, our neighbors, our friends. It is so sad. It is so sad. Like this, I cannot believe that this is Guyana in its current state. I don't believe it. But we must believe of what the government and the police force is doing to our citizens. It is wrong. It is wrong on every level. You don't pick someone up and you have no charges. And then when you pick them up, they're remanded. How are they remanded? Somebody is doing the remanding. So there's a broken component of our system, because if you take someone to court or you arrest them, you have to have legitimate charges to charge them. And then when they get there, they must have their due process, not beaten, not abused, not marginalized. Like this is sickening. This is sad. And we all must be outraged about what is going on in Guyana. We
I agree.
must be young men. Young men, they might not be anything to you that is doing it, but they are something to somebody. They
Everything to
have
somebody else.
families that loves them. They might not have value to the government or to the folks that is doing this, or even to the police that is doing it. And the police officers must remember that they got family, because once a police officer, twice a civilian, and you can't look at your black brothers and sisters and do this and think it is okay. It is sickening. There is something psychologically, spiritually, mentally sickening about our society that we have denigrated and we have disintegrated into this nonsense. It is sad. It is a sad place for Guyana. And everybody should be outraged about what is happening. And you might say, it isn't happening to me. Just wait a little while longer. You might be next. It takes nothing to get in trouble in Guyana. Nothing to get in trouble. Imagine you were saying that you go to visit them. And let us remember, look at the corruption of the system. That you are a citizen and you're going to visit. And they got to make a phone call. What kind of nonsense is that? And we call ourselves a democracy? We are not ready for what we are saying that we are. We are not. This is a dictatorship. And I understand that the police officers that are also doing it, that they are also doing it for their daily bread. But when wrong is wrong, you cannot stand and see it and be allowed to be used as a tool and weaponized to do harm to your brothers and sisters. It is sickening. And so you must also stand up because you have a job to protect and serve. And what you are doing to your fellow brothers, especially the black ones, come on, man, Jesus. But we call upon the name of God this morning, and we are calling on for fire and brimstone for those evil ones, because evil shall not prevail. I'm telling you that those folks that are doing what they're doing to our own, I am telling you, just do will be their portion. Just do will be their portion. I am so sick. I can't think about Guyana and think anything positive. Everything that comes out of Guyana is one of which that it makes your stomach turn, it makes your heart ache, it makes, I mean, everything that happens. I mean, we are just going through, it feels like a genesis of so much, and it can't stop. It continues and it continues. But we will not. We are a resolute people. And I want to say this morning, I want to say that, listen, you might knock us down, but you ain't going to knock us out. Because listen, the loins and the places that we come from, our ancestors, we gonna fight. Whether we fight you spiritually, whether we fight you physically, we are gonna stand. And today, Miss Broomes, I want to thank you. I want to thank you. And let me say this public. Y'all don't know what is going on behind the scenes. She just come and talk off and left off. You hear what I'm telling y'all? When I say that this is a true warrior and a leader, I'm not saying it because, oh, I like Simona Broomes. I'm saying it because of her proven track record. I'm saying it because she loves her people. And when I say she loves her people, I'm not talking about just Black African Guyanese people. She loves humanity. This is a woman that would get up out of her bed. Y'all don't know what time she wakes up in the morning. You wait, you don't see her on a live. She is in the battlefield. She's in the trenches doing the Lord's work. She is there doing the Lord's work, sometimes alone, sometimes with our team. You hear me? Doing the Lord's work. And we must reward her publicly for our service, because those young men would have been in jail and be rotting. Look at the charges of what they have given to them. Could you imagine a young Black man being charged with terrorism, and that even his family, even if they had the money, do you understand what our system is trying to do? But then there comes a woman from nowhere that stands for truth, stands for justice, stands from a place of love, and comes and says, you are not alone. Could you imagine being in a dungeon, in a dark place, that you're arrested? Not only are you arrested, but you're beaten and you are abused. And out of nowhere, you have no idea that somebody that, and this is the way God works, people. For those who are believers, this is what the way and how God works. That someone comes, and of all the people that could probably show up, is this one woman called Simona Broomes, going into dark places to find those who are supposedly lost, and there is no hope. Y'all don't even know the half of it. So when you see this woman comes on her life, and she speaks to the community, the public. It ain't for the likes, it ain't for the share, it ain't for favor, it's not even for a political office. It is but for the love of people that she comes out there and she pours her heart out. And when you see she come and she asks for support, y'all stand with her. Stand by her and stand with her, because it is no easy joke and feat. Enough of us, a lot of us comes and we have titles and positions. And I'm going to speak this morning unapologetically. They come and they stand and they have positions. This is a woman that come and stand, and she's standing with purpose. She is standing in her purpose. She is serving her people, and she's doing it from the bottom up. She ain't waiting until she's in office to be able to serve the people. The people are seeing her, and I want you to remember when it's time to come and vote, because people ain't only supposed to serve and give to us. We must also have a responsibility to choose leaders that will serve us in purpose and in spirit and in truth. So I just want to thank you, sister. I just want to bless your life, because when you pour so much into others, we must be responsible and able to pour back into you. The work that you are doing, it is infinite. It cannot be paid in no amount of money, in no amount of words that we can even reconcile to say to you, thank you. But God will continue to reward your life, because you're living in your purpose. You're living in your purpose. Imagine if no one went and stood for those young men. Imagine, just imagine that if no one, not even their families, that the first person that they were able to see is you. Oh boy, you gave them hope. You gave them encouragement. You're telling them, you've told them that they are not alone, that they are not alone, that God is with them, that you represent nothing in the spiritual realm but a woman that will stand when no one else will. I thank you. I just honor you today. Gosh, you don't even know it. You have no idea what you mean to your people. You don't even have an idea, especially young people. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep pushing. Keep showing up. Because when you show up, you show our folks that you care and you love them infinitely. You love them without a reason. You love them without a reason. And when you love people without a reason, you know that you're doing something powerful. Because some people have to have a reason to love people. You love them just because. So I thank you. I thank
And
you.
thank you to Novella. I was trying to get Apostle London. You know, I said today, if you see, I'm happy where you're jumping because I'm not so well, but this thing is just bothering me. I tell you last night I was speaking. But listening to their stories, Novella, they come up, and they're gonna always come and pelt the bricks. But like you said, when you know purpose. Yesterday, I didn't even want to mix these stories because you and I, we plan to do some lives on the ALP page. I want to address even what I saw yesterday, but we can do that later on the LP page as it relates to women and Vindi and some different topics. But this morning, I really want to hold it to the abuse and how the system is just destroying our men folks. They are so broken. They're broken in their homes. They're broken on the streets. And then you just got them in these prisons, over 70 to 100 young men all over this country. The other day said, Lord, these judges. A woman called me from Linden, and I was driving, and let me share this publicly. And she said she went and they got nothing, but the guy was further remanded. But she said a team of lawyers came in on the Zoom, and she was thanking me, and they got this little child, and the child ain't getting to go to school, and she can't work, and she ain't got money, and she got to travel from Linden, and this woman is there. And when she finished with me and she finished talking, I said, God, you speak to these judges. It's time for the doors, the jail doors to be open. Set them free, Father. The fathers, the children needs them. Their wives needs them. Their community needs them. I said, God, You set them free. You know, it happened to me that,
Apostle said he's trying to join,
and I
so I'm not
trying to get
sure.
him. And you know, Novella, I'm adding him, and I see the request going. Right now, it's sending back that I'm adding him. And I got dressed for court. Suit, you know. I said, Amanda, get yourself together. We going to court. Just to go to court, and the family's inside, you know. And the matter with the lawyers coming by Zoom. And I said, God, they got to get bail. Somebody said 500 and 600,000. Where they getting this money from? So I'm telling people, don't give up. You see, I sit down here, I ain't even feel well. I said, God, let it, even if it's two, even if it's 250, wherever, but let it find this money. But it must come out. You know, yesterday I was sitting there with Dr. Todd, fighting on not a big issue. Novella, we got to talk off the air. That one is so full in my head because it's not easy, but you know, this new week, look forward to it. Look forward to some movements. You know what I'm talking about. We'll talk off the live. And I'm waiting there for the attorney. But listen, a woman who didn't want to see me hiding from me, walking to me in a community I was, ended up with me yesterday, fighting with her too. It's a different story. And I went to the lawyers and to get a briefing on the matter that you know about, and the guys in prison, because remember, a lot of them had to go through court 3. And I said, listen, y'all got to go out there and fight. These are not easy matters. And I told Dr. Todd, and I could say it on this live, and I tell Smart and all of them, I said, when you see you guys going out there to represent matters, this is not a represent. You got to go out there and fight. Put on your armors. You go in and fight. We got to get them out. Look, Dr. Todd's office and them, Nigel will tell you. Nigel use. So when the war came and they got bail, I said, Father, thank you. Even if it's 250, where they can find the money, they'll find the money. When I call back the families, everybody vice change up, you know, because the families run finding this money and they were waiting to pay the bail and waiting for them to bring the guys. But you know, by the time they call him my phone, you know, some of them come out, just want to say thanks. It's Tyler had to answer and say, listen, the people must, he said, she's now well, she can't. The time I can't even lift up my head, you know. I gotta got my head down in a pillow, holding it, you know, because the whole place just going around. But knowing too that they're out of the jail, you don't know what if half of me. So I said, listen, Tyler was telling me, listen, they can get back to me and so on. And I'm sure everybody want to talk to me and tell me their story, and things like that. So, you know, you're right. And sometimes because people believe, you know, when you come and are trying to get apostle like adding you, hold on, and I'm adding you, but I don't know what is happening. I don't know what is happening there. But you wrestle not against flesh and blood, but people like tell you
I
something.
wonder if he
Just
gets off of the live and
come on
then
back.
tries to
When
come
you would
back
say,
in.
I am telling you, I tell people, don't come for me. You'll die first. And I don't care. I don't care from top to bottom. Nobody innocent in this. None of you innocent in it. You see the pain these men feel, the family and all of that. Novella, not only they will feel it, their family too shall feel it. Because whatever you sow, you're going to reap it. You see this wickedness? It must stop. And Novella, we must continue to call upon our God publicly, because we know once it is said, it is done. Every one of them. Like I like to back up yourself. The whole entourage, the prison warders will speak to them this morning. Don't try hurting them. Don't try to touch them. Problems you're looking for. There's a different move. There's a different sound in the earth now. The government got to play catch up. Police can play catch up. Lights can be unearthed. People, listen, it's taking place before our eyes. And you know, back in the day, the other night, I was looking at a movie. And regardless, even on the plantation, I was telling a friend, we move away from some simple, from some powerful things. The people never stop praying. No matter how they were in shackles, they were praying. No matter what, I said they were praying. They were praying.
Yes.
They were calling upon the God. Now we putting out trying to understand. Look, I glad, Apostle, I'm well glad you coming for talk. Because this thing, I am telling you, it is so much. And like people afraid to talk. So Apostle, thanks for coming in. I mean, you could imagine, you know what hurt me before I come off, before I get a little quiet? It's that I visit these places, Apostle. I know the extortion. Apostle, I visit. I see, I talk to them one-on-one. I saw men and women innocently in the jail. I know how it affects them. I know how this one killed himself. I know how they come out back on the road and could never be the same again no more. I know that the wife don't know about them. I don't know what a mother and son could never ever imagine. You cannot imagine. I remember the first time I went to Mary prison. And when I got there and the prison officer, you know, because you're minister, so no, you can't protect me, these are men. I want to go in there with them. You know, I didn't use that instrument. The God didn't allow it with me to go and knock glasses. I can't share plenty pictures at cocktails, but I could show you a lot of videos and stories in the prisons and in the dungeons. And I open there, say, hey, back up yourself. Every man, Jack, put on a shirt. Who in charge of this jail? And they came forward. And when you listen to the stories, I saw a man in the market. I was moved. Sometimes I want to cry to Novella. And hear what he said. You can't remember me when you come into the jail and you prayed with me and this and that. Jail is not a place. When you see the picking up these black men and scooping them up and put them up with this terrorism, is to put them in jail. Apostle London, Novella, is to destroy them. Let me tell you this. But Novella, I agree with you that God will heal them. Because who he set free is free indeed. And he is the greatest healer. And I join with you and say, God, heal our men. Heal our men. The spirit of jail, I rebuke you. They will see jail no more. They will be liberated. And this will work for their good. Because I'm telling you, Apostle London, they must sue the state. And I give way to you and Novella this morning, Apostle London.
Greetings to you, my sister, and to, of course, Sister Novella.
Good morning.
This is such a from the moment that I, as a Guyanese man, observe an agency of the state referring to young men as terrorists for their response to an act of injustice, I have not been the same person. It got 10 times worse when a young nursing assistant or nurse, a young Guyanese woman, whether she's a nurse assistant, doesn't matter to me, who spoke to someone privately, and that person secretly recorded the conversation. And she said nothing about overthrowing the government, the administration. She said nothing about raining terror on the community or nothing like that. She simply said that she was somewhere. We know what happened. And then they said, that girl is a terrorist. That broke the camel's back for me. But I think what caused me to be in greater despair is the response or the inactivity of men. When our foreparents, and people can call me racist all they want, I am an African or a Hebrew person, and that's what Yahweh has made me to be. I didn't choose to be one. And the United Nations have agreed that the African descendants have suffered the worst fate. I didn't do that. They agreed to it. They dedicated now 20 years to trying to fix what we've been through. No other group had that attention. So it has to be something to trigger them to say that. But I'm going somewhere with this. When our fathers, or when we were in the dungeons, because we were in the lines of our forefathers, there were more who were free than those who were captured. Can you still hear me? This is sad now. You had far more who were free than those who were captured. But you know what happened? Those who were free didn't want to risk it. It was a bit too costly for them to go to face it. So it took them almost 400 years, or more than 400 years, to finally decide this is enough. And those who were captured rebelled, because those who were free did not rebel to save them. This should not be a replay in our history.
Yes.
They should not be replayed in our history. And to know that they are persons who we pay. Anil Nandlal is a public servant. I don't mind how much people try to put him on any pedestal. A minister in government is a public servant. He's called a constitutional officer. He's paid. That's why when they have a 7% increase of public servants, he gets it. Ali gets it because they are public servants. They are the only public servants who believe that they're above the law. And we must, as a people, make them answer to us, not ask them to answer. And it simply begins with us going out on the roads, standing on the roadways, and saying that we shall not tolerate this degree of disrespect and this degree of tyranny. What they also fail to realize is that when the news hits the world to say that Guyana has now produced 20 or 30 plus terrorists within a month, there should be a response in international agencies to say, okay then, don't go to Guyana because Guyana is now a state that's full of terrorists. Or there should be a response to say, how could you all just decide to call people terrorists just like that? So I'm also disturbed by the fact that we have the ABCE nations, America, Britain, Canada, European Union, and it seems as if they don't realize that people in this country in which their ambassadors and others are being called terrorists for simply responding to injustice. There needs to be a significant shift in this nation, and that must begin with us. There must not be a replay of what happened at the gate of no return, at the door of no return, where the freed ones or the free ones said, I don't want to risk my life, and end up in there. This cannot be a reality. It should not be a reality. I'm so thankful to you, my sister Simona, for the passion that you have. And you see that's why I could talk certain things with you. When fighting with people comes naturally, you don't have to become and make a great effort to say, well, okay, then let's see who we can organize, and we can call and call 55 different people to back you up and help you out. I used to go to prison sometimes by myself and sit to talk to people, and I tell the officers, I don't need protection. I came to do ministry. Now, if Yahweh can't protect me, then why am I here? And I talk to these young men. And I must share this because it may help some of them. Before Camp Street burned, I was here the Tuesday. And the brothers and I were having a conversation, of course, in the chapel. And I said to them, you know what? Because I said, man, like we had any hope in Guyana, and many of them said, I did nothing. And police just grabbed me, threw me. Now I believe the story now. Because with the Adriana case and this Orlando fellow, I have a right to believe what they're saying. Many of them said, I did not do anything. I was just stereotyped, and these people grab me, throw me in the truck, and say, okay, then that's it. We have to find somebody, essentially, and we pin it on you. And they were saying they don't feel as if they have any hope. I said, you know what? Yahweh can do something that you never expect and free many of you, like this. And they said, no, this system corrupt. And I said, all right, I'm just telling you that the God I serve can just like this do something or cause something to happen, and you walk freely. The Sunday, the jail was on fire, and many of them were sent home. Some of them came and said to me, Apostle, I never thought that this could be so simple. I'm saying to those brothers who are held there, justice never fails you. It may take a while for you to receive it, but it doesn't fail you. I say to the brothers who are out, let us stand. Let us be consistent in our voices, consistent in our stance for justice for these people. This is not just Adriana, it's Adriana plus. And more so, they are seeking to kill our young men. They're seeking to kill us. How are they doing that? When you imprison somebody, especially wrongfully, someone who's not inclined to be criminal in their behavior, you destroy a part of their life that can never ever be replaced. Never. Never. I saw it on many occasions. When you wrongfully imprison a person and treat them in the most inhumane manner, you can never ever fix that. Further, I say before I stop talking, you see police officers officers, you know the law, you know. And I told you all this before. When they sent you all to meet the sports club, but I need to move, I told you before, you are only to obey a lawful order. That's the law in Guyana. No other order. You're not supposed to obey a minister's order, Hicken order, Robeson order, Barrett order, any one of them. You are supposed to obey a lawful order. It is unlawful to arrest somebody if you see them with a bag in their hand and somebody says that's a terrorist. That's an unlawful act. It's unlawful for some security company to tell you, oh, grab that one. And you run and grab him. A sheep you got in, a cattle you corralling on the road. I am livid. And they will have to answer. I tell you that. I promise you. I promise you, as Yahweh lives, you're going to have to answer, you know. Because you won't do this to people and get away with it. You will have to give account for it.
You know, Apostle, something happened in this country tonight when a lot of us, I know most of us are so still hurt and concerned and fighting with this Adriana story. But that night when that post-mortem results came out, something happened in this country to our folks. Men were taken and they were brutalized. They were knocked off of motorbike. A lot of them get gunshot. A lot of them get shot in the eyes. A lot of them leave with one eye. There's one going to court today in Springland. His story, he was lashed off the bike by the police vehicle and gunshots and people running. He was running. He got 3 shots. I saw the photo. He got a sack where the urine on his waist, people. His mother, his grandmother is a police working in Brown and Black. They told her that his son and some boys was beating up a police. She said, who police? And where the rest of the boys? By the time he was discharged, I have the receipt for $50,000 bail. And come out to the hospital. She don't know, and asking this police, this inspector and talking, this body and talking to her. Next thing, his pictures out there, wanted bulletin. And they take him way this day from the quarantine side to Wim, pass him through the court, remanded to prison. She didn't even know which prison her grandson was in. Today, he's going through the court. Young people. Something happened in this country. And while people, they believe that they're upset because people are shutting them out about this death of this young girl, you know, they tell themselves they got the power in the hands to continue to destroy more injustices, beat them in these police stations, bust up the head, shoot them. Some are blind, mash up the motorbikes. Huh? And people out here, and you think I cut business, but who sent Bart send his body? So I thank you too, Apostle Novella. I thank you too, because you're far, and all of us coming together. I was there the morning over the river. Don't forget. I listened to some stories. I listened. I was briefed about the position with the same Adriana story, and I'm not going to repeat. I'm not speaking on behalf. And like if you're just taking salt, I'm just pushing in a wound. So Novella, don't think it gets easier.
No.
But what I'm saying, through this all, people, through this all, I'm telling you, I see the hands of God moving. They're on the back foot with the wickedness.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of this.
Yes.
When the story done here tonight, the Canberra Road, we beat them up, we locked them, they just down, oh, the girl gonna bury. So everybody feel good. Police started search your vehicle from the bridge. You can't get over to this funeral. Because remember, Ali's move around this country by helicopter.
Right.
And when everybody all over the road, if you see search, checking for see who going to the funeral or they're going to do a whole set of different things. Oops. Federal call off. Even if they said it was because of a voice not. The Bible teaches God used the foolish to confound the wise. It's okay. It
Always
was
confuse the
called off,
enemy.
and
Always
unfortunately,
confuse
I'm
the
not
enemy.
teaching you to preach here. This funeral was called off. So my minister the funeral called off. I said, here, let's just double check. So I make sure I get a call to no family. Because I ain't able to funeral call off. They didn't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
So now they got the animal. Oh, this body ain't good. Parts pack up and cut up. How he know what's that parts pack up and cut up? Something happened that we didn't know about? Well, based on what I heard, he knew what he was saying. I ain't gonna rest my case there, because me ain't gonna say much on that.
You know,
But
I
things are not
regular.
norm from that end.
No.
It's not norm, but regardless of what people, the body, I was told, go in. Because people are going to open it and look and search and test and this and that and that. The body going.
But
The
how,
body going.
how, my sister, how can Anil say that he was informed, and the PPP now has unnamed specialists. That's their new brand. Unnamed and unidentified specialists. They can't bring the specialists to talk to us. They couldn't bring 3 pathologists who they have so much confidence in to talk to us. To this day, I went and I searched Mount Sinai's site for the doctor, and I can't find him. I find an old man. I couldn't find him. So I don't know what happened. Maybe he doesn't have a photograph there or whatever. But I'm wondering, how could anthropologists exhume, dig up, go find a mummy that's over 1,000, 2,000 years old? And they did a research. One of them found an ovarian cyst on a mummy that's over 1,000 years old. But Anil said that this body has lost its forensic value. No. What the body has, it has retained evidence. And I'm not, call me, I tell you long enough, call me terrorist. I mean, if you do, you're not doing it yet. Because you would never control what I say as a man. This is one man who would not be broken by a weak wimp. None of y'all. The nonsense has to stop. And what I thought about is this: if they do not care, my sisters, about Adriana, a little 11-year-old girl, you think they care about that 25, 30-year-old
That is
African
correct.
man or 25 of them? If they
That
didn't
is
care about what
correct.
happened to that little girl, and they didn't make
Yes.
every effort to fight for justice, you think they have a problem locking up 100 African men? These creatures have no concern. They've lost their sense of human value. So, and then
You know, the
tell
young man
me
said,
how
Apostle Anchor, the young
that's
man
possible.
said, Moms, why did they go and lock up the staff who went in the hotel?
There you go.
The young man asking me to come on the press, you know, Moms, why did they lock up the people who weren't? Why did they lock up? And he started asking the very questions. But Moms, why is we? Why me? I never do anything. I couldn't imagine. He see the police van, he was riding the bike, he stopped. He says papers. Poor child. Take out the papers. He said everything right. I walk and I buy my bike. Because I know like black man, like they can't buy bike. Like all these bikes, they collect the thief, they bike. But they are hurting. And you know, Novello, when you're telling me but mental health month, I said, well, listen, you can't celebrate the dog. He got everybody in this place, he got a mental health problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's intentional. It
And
is very
it's
intentional.
intent, thank
It
you.
is extremely, I mean, I want to, sometimes it's important for us to be able to sort of like synthesize and be clear of what this government is doing. You know, the majority of our police force, they're Africans, they're African Guyanese. It is not an accident, or it is not by accident that you see instructions being given. I call it as there's a way that there's an indoctrination of intimidation and fear. that happens. You look at places that are where we are of predominance. You have a police force that is represented by African Black Guyanese. They are being weaponized and they're used as a tool to then be able to go and to abuse and to do things against the rules and the policies and their job to be able to do it. That is not a coincidence. We have to be clear. And I'm going to just be explicit to say this morning, if the Guyana police force was a force that there were a predominance of Indian Guyanese, you would see a different structure. You would see a totally different set of conduct that we don't see. But because we are being used to be able to abuse our own citizens, that is not something that is a by accident. That is a by design, okay? Because you've got a police force that is of us, that they're using us upon us to abuse the folks that looks like us. That is not, we shouldn't, we must not be remiss by those things. Okay, so when African Guyanese have to go and arrest someone without a reason, a cause, and then they're going to take, then they're instructed or not to abuse them, there is a psychological indoctrination of what this government is doing to our people, because it's like automatically the police force knows that, okay, we have to do X or Y in order to sustain and to keep our jobs. So if it means that we must abuse our brothers and sisters, it is just that, because that's the only way we can survive. So that is not something that we must, slightly observe and move on. That is with deep intentionality of what they're doing. And I want to say to the Attorney General this morning, you are supposed to, and mind my words, you are supposed to have a fiduciary responsibility. Because if Adriana's body comes back and it demonstrates more than just what the first autopsy has actually revealed, you are supposed to be in a position and prepared to prosecute whoever has actually done something that is against the law to this child. And the mere fact that you are muddying the waters by coming out with your assertions, that is coming out with pronouncements even before you are tainting your position to show that you will be and you are impartial. You are not impartial, excuse me. Because how can you prosecute a case when you have literally put your thumb on the pulse to be able to make pronouncements about this case? That it is not only false, but it's also to be able to corrupt and to contaminate the case, because you are supposed to be the Attorney General, that if in fact there are findings based on what the autopsy will show, then you can't even prosecute the case. I mean, what, you're going to recuse yourself? Because you're showing that you are absolutely corrupt. And we must be clear on these things. Because if you're coming out and you're making pronouncements and you're speaking with emphasis and you're speaking in absolutes, then you're saying to the public, I am putting my finger on the thumb of this case. That means that there will be no case to investigate. Regardless of whatever evidence y'all find, we will not prosecute it. That is what you're saying to Guyana and the nation. Be aware of
Uh,
what you are stating and what your
yeah.
position is.
Yeah, you're right.
Ladies,
And he knows,
listen,
and that's
sorry.
exactly what he's doing.
I have to
Exactly.
that. This I'm actually gonna work. Sorry about that, but the truck is gonna pick me up. I work. Angel asked if I'm the trucking, right?
Okay,
So
Apostle. Yes.
I have to dash, but let's continue to stand, and I do encourage you all Guyanese to let's maintain protest action, let's maintain demonstration, and let's maintain courage. We'll talk. Love you
Yes.
all. Do well.
Okay.
God
Yes, it was a
bless.
pleasure. Yeah, pleasure as usual. And Novella, you're so correct.
I think you're muted. You're on mute. I'll keep going while she gets back on online. But let me say, if you can hear me, can you so you can hear? There is so much. We are not stupid. But you know, the vice president came out the other day. Just type in that you can hear. The vice president of Guyana came out and he said, and I quote, that there are people that are stupid. Some people are absolutely stupid. In other words, that he is actually affirming to say that we are an unintelligent nation. Okay? We are so unintelligent and we're so stupid that they can do these things in our faces because there's a level of boldness. Um, okay, yes, we know that y'all are stupid. Y'all stupid. We are unintelligent because and there was a particular demographic to whom they were actually referring that to. Okay? We must be clear about what they're saying to us. But if every one of us continues to cower and to be in a posture, a fetal position, that we have rights as citizens, and no one should ever take our rights away. And if everyone goes into this posture of fear, oh, I can't speak because I'm frightened, man, look, how many of them, how many can they kill? All of us, they can't. They can't unalive all of us. So we must stand up. We have to stand. We can't operate in this position and this posture of deep fear as a nation and as a people. All because why? They're intimidating. They're using the apparatus of the state to be able to silence us. I have yet to hear the churches. Let me call the churches out this morning. I have yet to hear them come out and stand with those families where their loved ones have been arrested. Because regardless of whatever the government tell us, that the reason of why they're arrested, or the Guyana police force tells us the reason, they are entitled due process under law. So churches, where are you? What happened? Have you gone to the police, to the prisons, and are you collaborating with the families and those that are helping with the attorneys and whatever? Where are the churches in Guyana that is standing with families, in particular our black people, our black churches, right? What happened? Why are you not standing? Is there a reason why you are not standing? Because you also have in a society, you have a responsibility to stand. To stand. That's what the church is supposed to be doing. In a time of this, the church is supposed to be standing with those that are being persecuted, those that are actually under attack, right? If we don't want your silent prayers, we want to see your presence and your faces. We need to see your bodies on the line, supporting your people, supporting your sisters and brothers that is under attack. That is your job and role as a church. So you ought to be out there standing and standing in truth and righteousness. Not only in the pulpit, but you must also be in the pastures. You must be in the trenches, standing up with the least of these, standing up with the marginalized, standing up for what is right, and speaking against the oppression, speaking against the marginalization. You must stand. And if you are complicit with accepting monies and you're covering your congregation because you don't want to be, targeted, then shame on you. Shame on you. Because this is a time that you stand. This is a time that you stand with the nation in prayer, standing in the struggle and fighting, using your position and your pulpit to call out what is unrighteous, to call out what is unjust. That is what the Bible says. So if you read in the same Bible that we're reading and I'm reading, you must be doing what is right. I don't know what's going on. I think Minister's our thing is paused. She might have been frozen. But I'm going to wrap this live up. I don't know if she's going to come back. I'll wait for a couple more seconds to see if she take. But the churches must stand up. Are you too silent? Y'all are too quiet in Guyana. Way too quiet. That all of this stuff is happening and not a peep. And then when you stand up, Like I saw the Seventh-day Adventist folks, the when you stand is that you're standing in complicity of the unrighteous and somersaulting and saying all this rubbish and trash about what you stand for. So it shows, and I want saints to see that for those ministers and pastors and elders and prophets and prophetesses and all of the spiritual leaders, that when they stand with a government that oppresses its people, that we must call them out. When they stand with a government that is marginalizing, abusing, subjugating citizens to wrongful arrests and abuse under the laws of our country, we must not allow them to go scot-free. We must call them out. So as a people, and you tell me there is no way that no one, I don't care what part of the world I am, I'm going to continue to use my voice and stand for truth and righteousness, because there is no daylight when there is truth to be spoken and to be said. There is no compromise against the truth. There is no equivocation against the truth. The truth only has nothing but one thing, the truth, and we must stand in truth and righteousness. When we see wrong, we must say it is wrong and stop using the Bible to flirt and to justify what a corrupt government is doing to its people, abusing. We saw the folks protesting because the Chinese are coming in and maximizing, taking over all the jobs. When you're putting bread out of the mouths of your citizens, whether the Indians are black or Chinese or whatever, you're taking the food opportunities away and giving it to foreigners. And then we must be quiet. Those are issues that the church should be speaking on. That when we take away, we are not able to provide opportunities for our citizens. What do you want them to do? Steal? And then when they go and steal, you're going to call them a criminal. You're taking opportunities for them to be able to have a livelihood of their families. What you want them to do. So these are the issues among so many that the churches ought to be standing for. Regardless of whether you say, oh, well, we don't want to be political. We're not asking you to speak on political issues. We're asking you to speak for what is right and what is just. We're asking you to speak on social issues, the ills of what we are seeing in our society, the things that we are seeing that is wrong. You know, when something is wrong, you must call it out. It don't have to be political. I'm not a political stooge or a political person. I've never served an office in Guyana nor in America. But what I do know is that when I see wrong, I must be able to say that is wrong and call it for what it is. And so you churches must stand up. You churches must call out what is wrong to your own congregation, to the people that sits in your congregation, that goes out and still works. It is not a different set of people that is in your congregation. It is those same brothers and sisters that literally is being abused. And then God come and give you the 1/10 to be able to upkeep your church. But you refuse to be able to use your voice and stand and say, this is wickedness. This is wickedness in high places. You must be able to use your voices, and you must not be using your voice and whisper. This is the time you open your mouth and you speak truth to power, and you say to any government, whether it is the APNU, PPP, whoever it is, that what you're doing is wrong. You cannot have a society that is normal, that is democratic, when citizens are being abused and being marginalized, and that is okay, irrespective of who's in office. Because if tomorrow the coalition comes back or they are voted in, I'm going to use placard, I'm going to fly to Guyana, I'm going to be on platforms speaking out against them if they're doing wrong. So the churches, this morning, you on Front Street, we are calling you out, and we're saying that your voice and your actions need to be in support of those that are marginalized. That's what God calls us to do. It is to be able to support those that are being abused and marginalized and that are being forgotten and that is being taken advantage of. That is your calling. That is the fiduciary responsibility of the church. So church, make sure you're doing the right thing.